Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Kaguya-sama Love is War, but today we're going to be checking out episode 9. And last time on episode 8, it was a lot of the same goodness that we're used to, but in terms of new things, we did get to meet Miyuki's sister, Kei, and she does seem pretty cool. For the most part, you know, she did continue to yell at Miyuki a little bit at the end there, but, you know, sibling relationships and whatnot. But what happened with her is that Kaguya met her for the first time and thought that maybe if she could become close friends with her, it might give her an in with Miyuki's family, making it easier to, you know, get him to confess to her and whatnot. Sadly for her, that plan didn't work out so well. Because Kei already had a very close friend, a sister-esque relationship with Fujiwara. So yeah, that was shot, but what do you expect, Kaguya? You shouldn't try to become close friends with somebody just so you can use them to get closer to somebody else. That's not cool. And hey, it just goes to show that Kaguya is just not very good at setting up opportunistic plans, you know? Like, all of her other schemes have been very meticulously planned out ahead of time, but this one, she just encountered her on the spot like this and decided to try to make use of it, so naturally, it wasn't even going to come close to doing as well. And even then, her planned out ones don't usually work either, mostly because Fujiwara gets in the way, so status quo. But another thing that was interesting was that we had two segments that were very, very closely related to one another, probably the two most closely related segments that we've ever had in one episode as of yet, but they both involved the school exams that were going on right now. The first one was just Kaguya and Miyuki trying to compete to see who could, you know, score the highest on the test, and it was mostly focused on the immense amount of effort Miyuki was having to put in for that. And in the end, Miyuki did score number 1, and he was very, very happy about that. At least you gotta give him credit for not boasting like that in Kaguya's face, because that'd be rude. I guess he didn't have to be all suck it Kaguya about it, but you know, whatever. You got the win, man. Celebrate as you wish. And the second segment was just Kaguya assisting Ishigami to help him do better on the exam because he was not doing super well with his schoolwork. He lacked any and all motivation to even try to do better, and well, Kaguya's not just gonna let this guy fail and have to retake the frickin' freshman year, so she had to help him out. And honestly, perhaps it was her trying to help him out so much that prevented her from scoring number 1 on the test. If she had focused solely on her own studying, who knows, maybe she would have beaten Miyuki. But even with all that help, Ishigami didn't do that much better. He barely passed. So, yeah, he still has a long way to go. And one last interesting thing that one of you guys pointed out was that in the exam results, we saw Kashiwagi and her boyfriend, and we saw that Kashiwagi herself actually went down a few places, while her boyfriend went up like 20 places. And they interpreted this as Kashiwagi scoring worse in the exam because she was trying to help her boyfriend score better on it, which I fully support this interpretation. That is very wholesome, and honestly, maybe it is intentional. It could be. I mean, why specifically show the detail that she scored worse on it and then he scored better on their first exam after they started dating? I'm just gonna sit back and assume it's intentional then, because it's too good of a detail to not be. So yeah, it was a solid episode, but now let's head right into episode 9 and see exactly what it has in store for us. Who knows? Okay, now first off, let us read what this says on the board here. You are a Shinomiya, of course. Rely on no one. If you must, use them instead. Receive nothing from others. If you must, take it from them. Love no one. If you must, lament. That's, yeah, like I said, that's pretty intense. This is the life of a Shinomiya. You gotta not rely on anyone, not receive anything from them, and you can't love them either. Okay, rely on no one? Y'all have freaking maids. I mean, I'm sure you rely on them at least a little bit, let's be real. Although I'm sure that's using them by their logic, but that's pretty cold. That is a cold-hearted motto to live by here. I mean, not exactly the code I would subscribe to. But dang if this episode didn't put everybody into a unique position. You know? I mean, just when you think about it, like how it all played out, it was kind of a win for Kaguya? Like in the long run? Although she doesn't remember any of what happened while she was sick, so It's like, dang, even though Fujiwara wasn't there to mess with her plan to get him to, ask her for a ride, it still didn't work because it either hadn't occurred to him to ask, or he was just not going to be willing to do it, which is equally as likely at this point. And then in the end, that short time she was standing there waiting for him, I guess she got sick? That was just the payoff of her saying that if you don't treat me better, it'll come back to bite you. And it did. It did. Even though she was kidding. And with their little card game they played, we got to see that Fujiwara apparently is not only good at, lying and bluffing about stuff, she can cheat too. I mean, she had just a twofold plan here. If she got caught with the first set of cards, she had the other set that she was gonna use as well. Which, yeah, she was determined, and she just had these cards handy just in case she needed them for something like this. But in the end, her deceit skills are pretty good, but Miyuki's just far too sharp to fall for it for long. And then we got the complete 180 between Fujiwara and Ishigami's dynamic that we only briefly saw. He was just tearing her apart for her cheating ways, and then she, sulks out the door, mumbling to herself in the exact same friggin' way. But of course, he understands that pain, so he tries to tell her to, not die on the way out. And lastly, Kaguya just completely reverts to a childlike state upon getting sick, with even just a cold. Apparently, it just completely shuts down her brain, and she's just stuck being like 5. Which of course means that good on Miyuki for resisting doing anything, because that would be pretty messed up given the circumstances here. I mean, she was in a very vulnerable state as she was, so trying to make any moves on that or to take advantage of it would just be very bad. Very, very bad, so good work, man. And then he ended up getting pulled into the bed, and then he just fell asleep. Thank goodness for being sleep deprived, I suppose. And then we had this. It's still white, it seems. What? So yeah, cool story. Like I said, it technically kind of worked for Kaguya in the end, that in her drunken, sick state, she was able to ask him to do something that she otherwise would have wanted, but, well, now she doesn't remember it at all. And now he is clearly going to catch a cold by sleeping right next to somebody who is infected with one. Or not, who cares? Also, I want to know why Fujiwara was so obsessed with the idea that she was going to lose her belly button. I want to know what that's about. Is it something specifically with lightning? Was it a fear thing? I don't know. So yeah, good stuff, but for now, I think that's all I gotta say. So till we meet again, no, that's not how I do that. So yeah, good stuff, but for now, I think that's all I gotta say, guys. So thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Subscribe to be updated on more. I would appreciate that a lot, but next time, we got episode 10, which I assume will have regarding Shinomiya Kaguya part 2, because part 1 was at the end of this episode. So is this little narrative going to continue even further into episode 10? I would assume. I mean, that was a pretty crazy place to leave off. I'm sure she would have some words for him at the very least in the next morning, so we'll find out. So yeah, there you have it. Quite the episode indeed. Quite the episode indeed. Put a lot of the characters in a situation they've not quite been in before. Especially Miyuki, I mean. Wow. But like I said, that's it. So till we meet again, I will see you guys later.